just crossing over to be 6 o'clock. So why don't we just start the meeting? And I'm going to call the meeting to order. We have checked and all 5 commissioners are on board and participating. So we do in fact have a quorum. And so I call to order this joint meeting of the Norwich Public Utilities Board of Commissioners and the Sewer Authority for Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. This is a Zoom meeting, so if people are going to speak during the meeting, it does help to announce your name before speaking so that we know exactly who is doing so. The first item on the agenda is the 15-minute public comment period. We have in the past been pretty loose in terms of how we administer this, but I'm told that we do need to sort of tighten things up. So basically, this is in fact a period of public comment. This is not a period of debate or analysis or reactions. So, we commissioners should listen to the public and what they have to say and take it seriously, but not use this as a forum to debate issues. And the period of public comment is 15 minutes. We ask anyone who engages in public comment to limit themselves to approximately 3 minutes so that we have time for others. And we will go from there. If there's anyone from the public who has called in and wants to provide some comments, now is the time to do it. Once again, if there's anyone from the public who wants to speak, please feel free to do so now. And Steve, do you know if we have any what look like outside calls?
It doesn't look like there's any outside calls right now.
All right. Well, if someone calls in late, I mean, given the technological challenges some of us face, please let us know. And I mean, I think we all would be willing to allow public comment to occur later on in the meeting.
Yep, I'll keep my eye on it.
Yeah. But assuming that there aren't going to be any people who call in, I think we can call the 15-minute public comment period to a close. The next item is approval of the minutes of the NPU Board and Sewer Authority meeting as of January 26th, 2021. Do we have any discussion or a motion to approve?
Thank you.
Good. Do we have any? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes, or?
This is Stu Peel. I'll make that motion to approve.
Thank you, Stu. And
Bill
do we
Wozniak,
have a second?
I'll second it. Bill Wozniak.
Thank you, Bill. All those in favor of adopting the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? The minutes are approved unanimously. The next item on the agenda is information and updates provided to the board prior to tonight's meeting, so that if there are any questions for Chris or the staff on the materials that were provided in the board packet on Friday, now is the time to do so. That includes both the leadership team template and the retirement incentive update.
This is Stu Peel. I had a couple of questions on the leadership update, and most of these have to do with items that are on hold, and I was just curious as to when they're going to start. So the first one is under the sewer pumps SCADA upgrade. Hello. It says that's on hold, and I was just curious if we know when that's going to get going.
Larry, can you give a little update on that project?
I kind of missed the question, to be honest with you. If you can
It's okay.
repeat it, it'd be great.
Under the leadership, there's the sewer pump status SCADA upgrade. It says it's on hold, and I'm just curious when that's gonna be moving forward.
Hopefully fairly soon. And again, it's bringing vendors into outside facilities. We need a mechanic there to kind of. There's a bunch of like PLC boxes that have to be installed. So we just kind of put a hold on that until we can, honestly, through the COVID situation.
Yeah, it's all because of COVID, yeah, okay.
Yep, distancing. Some places, those pump stations, they're pretty small enclosures, and it's really not a big at-risk high project. So we thought we'd put the brakes on it.
Okay, does this is the SCADA system up and running? This is just an upgrade to it?
Oh yeah, yes. No, we're trying to get every single pump station we have to come back fully through SCADA for far as like run times of pumps. It's all alarmed and all. We know what goes on, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of information we're not capturing, which will actually help us plan maintenance better. So it's really about that.
I got you, okay.
Yeah, so
The other thing
our
was,
SCADA system covers everything from operating our sewer and water plant to all of our remote stations. So it gives us a lot of information that goes back into our control room and to the plants.
It's a good tool. Like if one pump is, they do lead lag and one pump's running a lot more, it means you already have a problem with another pump. And if you can catch it during the day as opposed to a call in at night, that kind of thing, you can really save a lot of money on O&M.
yeah, okay, good. The other question had to do with the discharge permits at the, it says MPU continues to work on the permit for the discharge. This is up at Deep River, I believe.
Yeah, both Deep River and the one at Stony Brook, the
Stony Brook.
Stony Brook discharge permit has lapsed, but it isn't up and running either at the same time. So
At the same time, but
yep, we're working. We have they're both being worked on at the present time. We'll
Okay,
have it in place shortly.
is there any issue that you sense going forward, or it's just a matter of just going through the process?
Honestly, just going through the process. There's really no changes in either one. Yes, we have the DAF unit, but the discharge is the discharge. So, and that's why the design engineer is helping us fill out this discharge permit for Stony Brook. And we have also an engineer helping us fill the discharge for Deep River.
Okay, all right, thanks. Let's see, and lastly, for Eric, there's two items here, the Dudley substation and the fiber agreement with BL&P. Both of those are on hold due to COVID. I'm just curious when those are going to get going.
Yeah, so the fiber agreement piece was completed. What's been put on hold is actually installing the fiber through their territory. So that has been put on hold because of COVID, and it is not currently in the budget for next year. So right now we would be looking at FY23 to pick that back up. And then I'm sorry, Stu, what was the other question?
It was the Dudley substation upgrade.
So I apologize. That may be a typo on my part. The Dudley substation upgrade was completed. We are in the midst of our Bean Hill substation upgrade, and that work is scheduled to start. We're actually just picked back up on design. We're going to be running through that for the next month or so, and I would expect construction to start late March, early April.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Eric.
All right, do we have any other questions? And hearing none, we will move, I'm sorry, no? I'll move to the next item, which is the CMEC update, and that's Commissioner Peel. Can you provide us an update on CMEC?
Thank you, Robert. Okay. The CMEC board met telephonically and via Zoom on January 28th. The year-end numbers were reviewed. The year-end tally for total member returns came in at 10% above budget, and the power cost only deviation to benchmark met the budget. For the year-end tally of asset value, the project portfolio was 5% below budget. However, the margin portfolio was 33% above budget, which brought the overall asset portfolio to 5% above budget with a final value of $16 million. The energy market analysis for December showed an actual energy cost of $38 per megawatt hour, which was $5.34 below budget. And lastly, the $38 per megawatt hour cost above represents 0.4% of the legislatively allowed $9,000 per megawatt hour rate charged to Texas electric utility ratepayers during the weather-related power outages they experienced this month. The $9,000 rate would never be incurred by CMEC member utilities due to CMEC's commitment to cost hedging, which prevents the very thing that left some Texas ratepayers bankrupt. And that's all I have.
Page two. I mean, one other thing that I'll just mention quickly is that CMEC has responded to questions from ISO New England and from the Department of Environmental Protection's commissioner and so forth regarding plans for more environmentally friendly non-carbon power generation and purchase of non-carbon power. And it's become, I think, something of a conundrum in the sense that I think that the advocates believe that it will drive down costs, and the people who actually are involved in the process think it will drive up costs, at least now, and that the technology isn't there. And so I think it's something that CMEC and others are going to continue to explore over the next few months and years. But it's going to be an interesting interplay, I think. Stu, I don't know if you have a comment on that, or Chris.
Yeah, well, I had a comment during the meeting, which was that the Eversource and United Illuminating were basically forced to use Millstone Power for the purposes of keeping Millstone as a viable entity because it meets the green energy goals of Connecticut. And CMEC is not obligated to do that. So we can continue to buy, a lower cost electricity and get an advantage. And so my only comment to CMEC was to explore or to take a posture that we are supporting green energy initiatives and goals of Connecticut so that we don't wind up getting an advantage that then is noticed by others. And the next thing you know, we have legislation coming across the bulkhead that makes our life difficult. So David Meisinger said, yeah, I could go out and buy all the green energy I want, but it's going to cost more. And right now we can get lower cost energy from gas. So we have an obligation to the ratepayer, et cetera, et cetera. So as Bob says, you're in, we can gain an advantage for as long as it lasts. My concern is that when it goes away, how does it go away? And does it go away through the legislature and they come in and really wallop us? So.
Yeah, I think we're going to be talking a lot about this in our strategic plan at CMEC. And it's going to be a balance to get the right mix so that we are supporting these green initiatives, but also very concerned about the economics on our customer base and making sure we're giving everyone fair and very good rates. So it's going to be a balance, and I think that's going to be a lot of effort in the next few months on the CMEC strategic plan.
And I think interestingly, one of the initiatives of the previous governor and the previous commissioner of environmental protection was to push the idea of efficient gas power generation. And now the current governor and the current commissioner think that's a bad idea and they're opposed to it. I don't know what the right answer is, but I do think that some consistency would be a good idea.
I did hear some rumblings, and I'm certainly not an authority on this, but there was at least one article I read that ISO New England was now being forced to consider wind and solar for the capacity market. And I didn't know if you had heard that. I'm sure you had heard the similar things. And they have to go figure out how to go work wind and solar into the capacity markets, but that'll really help. Right now, they're not in the market at all, so they're more expensive for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the initiatives that Katie Dykes is taking on, and will be spearheading that effort.
All right, so that's sort of the CMEC update. And if there are any questions or any other comments that people want to make, please do so. And if not, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. And hearing none, the next item is the financial report. And there are two parts to that. One is a COVID-19 presentation. The other is the budget schedule. Chris?
Yep, Laura will be presenting both of those items for us, Laura Heron. And, this is, we're coming up on the year anniversary pretty much of where we started tracking the impacts of COVID-19. And I think Laura will show that the staff's been working very hard to manage our finance through this pandemic. And we're ready to start moving on as vaccinations increase.
Hello, everybody. It's Laura. Next slide, please. So what we'll do is look at the forecast for actuals through the end of January and our forecast through February through April of 2021. So that will bring us to 1 year from the beginning. For this time period, we've budgeted $27.7 million of revenue under normal operations. We're forecasting $26.9 million of revenue under COVID operations, which is a 3.2% decrease. Slightly smaller than we've seen over the last couple of months because we're going into the shoulder seasons outside of the winter heating season. And again, what we're seeing consistently with our forecasting is increased sales within the residential customers and decreased sales within all of the rest of our customer bases. We do have in this current forecast the reduced penalty rate all the way through the end of March. Next slide, please. This is a new slide in our presentation. I just wanted to bring everyone's attention to what we're looking at here in regards to the trend that we're seeing. The blue bars are the 2019 receivables balances, and these are balances in our accounts receivable over 31 days. So this would be anybody who is outside of their utility account. The orange is the 2020. And the green is the 2021. And as you can see, the bars, the height of the bars is growing as we're going through the year-over-year comparison as our accounts receivable balances continue to grow, impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Next slide, please. So over the course of February through January, we've collected about $2.6 million less than we would under normal circumstances. And we expect an additional 700,000 reduction in the next 90 days. To anticipate that by the end of April, we'll be $3.3 million higher in our accounts receivable compared to normal operations. Again, continuing to work with our customers, special payment arrangements, and as other abilities in order to help them come current as we can. Expenses, continue to manage our expenses, deferring and eliminating expenses as best as possible. Again, April of last year through April of this year, forecasting a projected reduction of $12.4 million in expenses over that time frame. We do anticipate seeing some increased costs again for purchase power and purchase gas. We're continuing through the end of the winter heating season. And if we get to the next slide, we can look at the impact of all of these things on our cash balances. Based on our actuals through January 31st and our approved budget through April, we had, under normal operations, would have projected $49.7 million as a cash balance. Under the COVID impacts, we're looking at 49.3. However, if we had not implemented those expense reductions of that $12 million, we would be looking at closer to $36.8 million in our cash balances. So the combined efforts of all of our team members to manage costs, reduce costs, defer expenditures has put us in a positive cash balance compared to where we could be. That is the presentation in regards to the COVID forecast for the next 90 days. And the next slide will be the budget schedule. We reviewed the budget schedule last month. We are on target. The first meeting of the Finance and Audit Committee occurred on yesterday, and where we reviewed the gas, electric, and administrative group drivers for the budget for fiscal 22. The proposed budget will be distributed to the board on March 1st and to the city on March 5th. And we'll have our second meeting of the Finance and Audit Committee for the water, sewer, and human resources budget drivers on March 8th. We'll be presenting the budget to the board on March 23rd. And then we're still waiting to confirm the dates for the city council presentation. And subsequent to that, we'll be looking for the board to approve the budget, and then it will be included in the total city budget. Are there any questions on the forecast or the budget schedule?
No, I don't think so. Not, anyone have any questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
You,
All
Laura.
right, thank you very much. So the next item on the agenda is to potentially go into executive session if that's the board's desire. We would like to go into executive session to discuss confidential, trade secret, and commercially valuable confidential or proprietary information not subject to inspection or public disclosure pursuant to section 1, 210(5) and 7, 232A of the Connecticut General Statutes. The information is commercially valuable, confidential, and proprietary, and is not for public disclosure pursuant to Public Act 98-212. And it's also to discuss personnel matters of an employee or employees or public official pursuant to Chapter 14, Section 1, 206A of the Connecticut General Statutes. If I can hear a motion to go into executive session in a second.
It's Bill Wazika. I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Thank you, Bill. Do we have a second?
It's Mike. I'll make a second.
Thank you, Michael. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none, the motion to go into executive session passes unanimously. And as you may recall, at NPU, we have a separate call-in number for the executive session. So we need to leave this this link and activate the other link to begin the executive session. So if you all want to get out of this and move into the other, I would appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so we're back in a public session, and there's only one item, or I guess two items, two different on the agenda. And Chris, I don't have mine in front of me. That's the two job descriptions are what again?
We have,
You want me to do that, Bob, or make a motion?
Well, yeah, it'd be fine with me.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the following positions: a sewer collection system maintenance technician and a document management specialist.
All right, do I hear a second?
Stu Peel, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? It passes unanimously. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second it.
I think I'm going to vote against it. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you again. I'm
All right.
sorry for the confusion at the end, but
Okay.
we'll do better next time.
Have a good night.
Thanks again.
Take care.
Take care, guys.
Good night.
Good night. Yep, bye.
What is that? What did he?
who was that? Vic on the line? Who was that?